Ladies and gentlemen, following Nvidia's record decline of $600 billion in market cap today, Nvidia shares closed down almost 17%. You are bouncing a little bit in after hours, up about 2.5%. And I will share the latest headlines with you here in this video. But first, I think we could all use a good dose of Tom Lee right now, because Tom Lee always seems to put a very negative situation into a positive light. And even if you don't agree, I do think he makes some good points. So we'll get into all the other stuff after this clip from Tom Lee. Take a listen.
Here to share what he is watching is Fundstrat's head of research, Tom Lee. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
Great to see you,
especially on this day. How are you?
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
Well, markets don't like uncertainty. They like visibility. They like moats. So markets are a little scared today. To me, it's an overreaction. I mean, Nvidia decline is the worst since March 2020. And we know that ended up being a huge opportunity for investors. So I think it's not a fun day, but I'd be looking at this as an opportunity.
I've been thinking about, the people who've been coming on today of all sort of professions, whether it's a strategist or investor or whatever, analyst, defending all this or saying it's overblown. How do we know? What if it's not? And if it isn't, what does that mean?
We don't know if it's overblown. You're right. But this is the nature of technology. I'd be personally surprised if Nvidia became Betamax in the past week. I mean, that's really would be the kind of change that would be required to really justify selling Nvidia here. And given, I think, the need for AI because of global labor shortage and Nvidia chip dominance is still strong, unless a new model emerges that doesn't require GPUs entirely, I'd say that markets just generally do buyer ready aim. I mean, I think it's hard to know, though.
I won't disagree with you on that. I mean, that's how the market tends to do that. But a lot of AI was sort of sold to investors on a hope and a dream, right? We haven't seen, in many cases, the ability yet to monetize all of this, or at least to have a sizable return on the investment that a lot of these hyperscalers are make tens of billions of dollars that they're pledging to spend. Doesn't that matter? I mean, what if some of that hope and dream just doesn't come to the degree that we thought? Or we decide that it wasn't worth the money that we were willing to pay for it?
I mean, these are fair questions. If Nvidia was at 100 PE, I'd probably say that there's too much good news priced in, but the PE is around 30 times. I'm not sure that that's very demanding for investors, and if you look a couple years out, it's in the 20s. I don't think Nvidia is priced for perfection.
Is the market itself?
I don't think so. I mean, the 10-year now is backing off to 4.5, so you're still paying over 20 times for a 10-year bond. The median PE in the S&P is around 18 times.
Yeah, but I mean, because it's skewed, though, because of the mega caps, we're still like 22-ish times. So, earnings have to be really good from here on out, right? Don't tell me about multiple expansion again driving this train. You got to put up or shut up when it comes to earnings this period.
That's right. But, I've been researching companies since the early 90s, so over 34 years. I never found a PE for a high-quality company to be at 22 times, let's say for Mag 7, to be a demanding multiple. Again, I think if you're talking about price for perfection, it really has to be stocks where you have to back into the NPV of 100% earnings growth forever.
What happens if, at bare minimum, we are questioning NASDAQ stocks for the foreseeable future? Like, this doesn't feel like, tomorrow everything's going to be great kind of deal. So as long as we're doing that, is there enough momentum behind some of these other areas of the market that this market as a whole can be okay?
Well, today, market breadth's actually pretty good.
Yeah, financials, healthcare, staples, they're green. Dow's up, almost 200.
That's right. Even in NASDAQ, we have stocks that are up.
Apple, Uber, Meta, yeah.
And I think that year to date, we have 3 weeks in, and year to date, Bitcoin's outperforming, small caps outperforming financials. So I think the market does look pretty healthy. I would say it's also very encouraging that if we can close on the S&P above 5881 by the end of this week, it really solidifies that 2025 is going to be probably a double-digit gain year.
What's your favorite part of the market right now, outside of tech?
I think financials, to me, represent a pretty good fundamental case of change this year because we have a new administration, a Fed that is dovish, yields that aren't painful for banks, and at a time when it could lead to upside for capital markets activity and multiples are low. So I think financials remain our number one S&P sector idea.
I mean, because I ask you because your narrative is so levered, so to speak, to big cap tech. Your top 5 ideas in the market are Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Google, and JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Now, you're not rethinking any of that?
No, at the moment, no. And even though this one day is painful, I do think markets tend to overreact. And again, unless we're on the cusp of a recession, this pullback in Nvidia is going to prove to be a buying opportunity as well.
Any Fed risk this week at all? Can they? Do you have any worries about what they could say? They're not going to do anything, we don't think, but they always say a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty going into January FOMC because last month it really caused markets to rethink the probability of a hike. But the probability of a hike for 2025 now stands at 27%. I think that's an extraordinarily high probability. I think there's a chance the Fed sounds more dovish than market expects.
Tom, we'll talk to you soon. It's good to see you as always, especially here at Post 9. It's Tom Lee.
Now, in fact, Donald Trump is praising China's advancements in AI, calls DeepSeek a wake-up call and potential positive development. Trump also is announcing plans to impose tariffs on computer chips and pharmaceutical producers and urges companies to build plants in the US to avoid tariffs. Not exactly sure if Nvidia is going to get a pass on that chip tariff, but that could be another issue for Nvidia, which just doesn't need another issue right now. Something to be on the lookout for. But it is probably one of those situations where if you just agree to build a plant in the US and start taking steps to do that, you probably won't be tariffed. But again, I don't know Trump, and that may not be true. Trump also says that he will cut corporate taxes further, that he is excited to work essentially with Congress, and he says we must permanently extend the tax cuts previously passed under the Trump administration. You can see here in pre-market and futures markets, Dow is down 0.2%, S&P is down 0.1%, Nasdaq is up 0.06%, oil is down 0.1%, and 10-year Treasury yields are up 2 basis points. There was a big flight to safety today in 10-year Treasuries, which was not exactly a great sign. Seeing that actually coming back a little bit may be good, in fact. So we'll see. Tomorrow morning, we do have economic data that could move the Treasury yields on your longer duration bonds like 10-year Treasury yields. We have durable goods orders month over month, expecting positive 0.5%. Last month was negative 1.1%, so that would actually be a 2-month decline for durable goods orders if that number comes in as accurate. That is at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. That is the biggest data that we have. But we also have the S&P Case-Shiller home price year over year. And CB consumer confidence that comes out at 10 o'clock in the morning, expecting that to tick up about 2 points to 106. Last month it was 104.7. We have Richmond Fed manufacturing index at 10 o'clock in the morning, expecting that to be really negative. Dallas Fed services index expected to be roughly in line with last month's numbers. And a 7-year bond auction. This is a longer duration bond, which the Fed does not control or manipulate these bond yields. So it'll be interesting to see how demand comes in for this 7-year bond auction. And this will probably have one of the bigger catalysts tomorrow for 10-year Treasury yields. And tomorrow really kicks in full steam ahead earnings season for many different sectors. Mainly so far it's just been financials, but tomorrow morning you get Boeing. They already pre-reported, but their official numbers will come out tomorrow. GM, Lockheed Martin, Royal Caribbean, RTX, Synchrony, JetBlue, Cisco, and Kimberly-Clark that will report. Tuesday and after hours you have Starbucks, SAP, Lending Club, Logitech, Stride, PCA, Chubbs, F5, and Stryker. Wednesday, you have ASML. That's one of the names that got destroyed today. They are a company that makes the components for like the equipment that actually makes semiconductors, right? So they're like tier 1 of the semiconductor trade. Progressive, T-Mobile, ADP, Teva, General Dynamics, and NASDAQ report Wednesday morning. Wednesday and after hours through Thursday and after hours. That 24-hour period is going to be insane because if Nvidia really has a problem, whether the stock rallies from here or crashes further from here, comes down to what hyperscalers like Meta, Microsoft, and what could soon be Apple with some of their AI endeavors say about CapEx investment for AI. If these companies say DeepSeek was a breakthrough and we can, maybe be more efficient and we may not need to spend as much on AI, that would be a big problem for Nvidia, and that's essentially why Nvidia sold off today. Now, again, you will get Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, IBM, Lam Research, ServiceNow, Celestica, Wolfspeed, and Western Digital Wednesday and after hours. Thursday pre-market, UPS, MasterCard, Blackstone Group, Nokia, Southwest, Caterpillar, Comcast, and Mobileye. And then Thursday and after hours, Apple, Intel, Visa, KLA, CN, Atlassian, Baker Hughes, Decker Brands, and United States Steel. And then Friday pre-market, ExxonMobil, Chevron, AbbVie, Phillips 66, and Charter. Now, the last thing I do want to say before we go ahead and wrap up this video, Nvidia fell so much today. It was actually interesting. In the options market, you could get the puts, like the $100 puts expiring next week for pretty cheap, okay? Some of the calls were very expensive. So it seems like everyone today was kind of positioning for a bounce tomorrow. At least that's what the options market told me. So as long as we don't get any more really bad news, you most likely could see a bounce tomorrow in Nvidia. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. To expect a bounce tomorrow, that's probably what we're going to get, but we do need to get through these hyperscaler earnings. That also includes Google and Amazon next week. And once we have more definitive guidance on CapEx spending for AI, that's when some of your Nvidias and maybe the hyperscalers can come back a little bit following the reset that we've seen today. So again, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.